I have said it before, I will say it again. Just like others have said it before, and it bears repeating often. They are not afraid of Zohran Mamdani failing. They are terrified that he's going to be successful. And by they, I mean everyone but the left. The Democratic establishment, the National Party, the Republicans, corporations, rich people. Kind of like how the US will prove socialism doesn't work by putting crippling and devastating sanctions on places like Venezuela and Cuba. Hey liberals, if you are really that concerned about 2028, then you need to start building coalitions with the left now, okay? Because you guys got more than 2 years, 3 years basically, to find and run a candidate that the left will vote for. The left is not going to vote for any of that list of bad Obama impersonators. Who are the bad Obama impersonators? All the really shitty, fake, corrupt, corporate APAC bot politicians that developed their public political persona by being dime store Obama impersonators. That would include Gavin Newsom, Pete Buttigieg, Josh Shapiro, Cory Booker. I was gonna say Beto O'Rourke, but I don't think he's gonna run again. Honorable mentions who aren't on the Obama impersonator list would be clowns like Rahm Emanuel, who is so delulu that he thinks that he has a chance to be president. That was like Howard Schultz running for president, levels of delusion. Get upset about it and then wrap it up and start building a coalition with the left if you don't want to lose. Because remember, it was in 2024 that a lot of you, including people like Hutch, have it recorded saying, we don't need the left. We don't need your votes. Go away. We're going to get votes from conservative moderates that flip. And of course, the left told you and was proven correct that no, you're not. There are no moderate conservatives. If you want to build a coalition, stop running to the right and try to get the Liz Cheney voter and go to the left. But again, one of the reasons why they refuse to build coalitions with the left and they're always trying to build them with the right is because despite the fact that they don't want to see themselves that way, a lot of the Democrats feel a lot more comfortable with the right than they do the left. And on a lot of issues, especially economics, they agree with the right. And a perfect example of how this plays out in real life is the way that they just allow never Trumpers or ex-Republicans to come and sit at the front and be treated with reverence and like thought leaders in the party, even if they were Republicans a week earlier. It is wild. That would be like somebody just going into church for the first time and saying that they want to be the preacher. It's like, no, bro. Glad you're here, but you need to sit the fuck in the back and listen and deconstruct. And you should be asking yourself, why is it that Democrats and liberals are so comfortable with that? The reason why Democrats say that they can't run the Zohran Mamdani strategy nationally and win is not because, oh, they couldn't win because he's a socialist. The reason why you don't see Democratic politicians often running on economic populism, and why you would not and will not see Gavin Newsom or any of the other possible 2028 bad Obama impersonators that are going to run for president, you're not going to see any of them lean into economic policy for one simple reason. And that is because Democratic politicians, for the most part, the majority of them, are beholden to their corporate donors and their Zionist donors, just like the Republicans are. But the difference is, Republicans don't mind. There is no fundamental tension between the conservative voter and the politician because conservative voters are also capitalist bootlickers, so they don't mind. And I say bootlickers to capitalists intentionally because, sorry MAGA, most of you aren't capitalists because you actually have to, have capital. And a lot of you bitches are straight up on food stamps talking about some, oh, I'm a capitalist. There is a constant tension between the Democratic Party, the leadership, the politicians, most of the politicians, and the voters, because the voters want economically populist policies. Even people who vote for Democrats who are not leftists, even most of the norm libs want populist economic policy. But because the Democratic politicians like Gavin Newsom are so corrupt and so beholden to their donors that don't represent the voters, he is constantly having to deflect. It is why he's constantly trying to make up for it by pandering on culture war issues. It's why he'll pretend that he is a healthcare champion and then veto a bill that would limit private healthcare acquisition. That is a tension that only exists on the left. You do not see it on the right because, again, they all agree on economic. There is no such thing as right-wing economic populism. It is why you will see Gavin Newsom feel so much more comfortable hanging out with right-wingers like wealthy Steve Bannon, who cosplays also as a populist but absolutely is not. They really did straight up memory hold the We Build the Wall scam where Bannon defrauded millions of MAGA voters. Ben Shapiro and other rich right-wingers, he is more comfortable with them because he agrees with them more, especially on economic policy. Why has Gavin Newsom only invited right-wingers on his podcast and not Hassan? Why hasn't he asked Hassan to be on his stream? That was rhetorical, of course. We know the answer. Because Gavin Newsom doesn't care to appeal to the types of people that listen to Hassan. We do know he loved Charlie Kirk, though. Remember, when Charlie Kirk was on Gavin Newsom's podcast, he gushed about how much his son loved him and congratulated him on making a difference. Which is a weird thing to say to a right-wing white nationalist if you're a progressive Democrat. I can tell you that if I had a kid and my kid were listening to Charlie Kirk, I would be devastated. I would be wondering where I went wrong as a parent. Why is it that so many of the Democrats refuse to go and talk to anybody that's actually on the left? That is the reason why they don't want to. And the Democratic Party would rather lose than have to confront that. And for all you bitches that'll be like, what about Hassan? It's his fault if a Democrat doesn't win. If you really believed that, if the Democratic Party really believed that, if you guys really believed that somebody like Hassan had that much power, you'd be trying to pander to him, no? You'd be trying to get your politicians on to try to get his vote. No, we already know the result of that playbook because you guys have run it multiple times. You ran it in 2016 and lost. You ran it in 2024 and lost. And let's be so for real. In 2020, Joe Biden had massive help because of the pandemic, how much everybody despised Trump at that point, and the advantage Biden had because he couldn't campaign, so he was able to hide in the basement. In other words, there's winning an election and then there's not losing one. Biden did not win that election. Trump lost it. So if you want 2028 to be different, then you need to do something different. Like, not allowing Democrats to keep rigging the primaries. If you want to beat J.D. Vance, and that's if J.D. Vance is the nominee and not someone like Tucker Carlson, who, if that's the case, we're in even bigger trouble, then you need to elect a populist progressive. End of story. Because I am telling you right now, if you run another AIPAC-funded corporate Democrat shill of big business, you will lose to J.D. Vance. And J.D. Vance is not only fake and evil, which he is, but he is nothing more than a Trojan horse of the Israeli regime and every one of the tech billionaire oligarchs that help create him, like Peter Thiel. The tech oligarchs know that they have no social skills and they're weirdo losers who could never get elected to public office, so they created J.D. Vance in a lab. And the billionaire class, the oligarchs, the tech bro plutocrats, those people hate democracy. They don't want it. They've said it. They want to usher in techno-feudalism. We're not going toward late-stage capitalism. We're in late-stage capitalism, and techno-feudalism is what they want to build on its ashes. So if you don't want that to happen, it is vital that you stop a corporate Democrat from being the nominee. Because even in the best case scenario, the corporate Democrat wins, which is a big gamble I'm not willing to take, and they end up governing like a standard Democrat, a back to normal type Biden figure, then I guarantee you in 2032, the pendulum will swing back, and this time we're gonna get President Tucker Carlson and VP Nick Fuentes. So if you don't want that to happen, we need to have that fight now. And the reason why the liberals keep trying to shut that fight down is because they like to have you in a place of desperation. Because if it's right before the election, they can say, hey, listen, lesser of two evils. Let's not talk about that right now. This is not the time. It's a manipulation tactic. That's why they don't want to talk about it right now. Don't let them shut down this conversation. It's vital now.